Hey, I'm WYN Starks, hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
What's up, y'all? I'm Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, it's Steve McRae.
Hey, I'm Josh from the band Need to Breathe.
I'm Olivia Lunny.
We are so excited to welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show, Akon. Hi.
What up, Kels?
Hey, I'm Judy Gold.
And I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show.
This is Jordan, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm Rob, and I'm hanging out on the Kelly Alexander Show.
I'm hanging out with the Kelly Alexander Show right now.
Jealous?
We are so excited to welcome to the show Nashville-based pop and soul singer WYN Starks, who Simon Cowell has described as life-changing when he watched WYN's performance on America's Got Talent. WYN, welcome to the Kelly Alexander Show.
Thank you, Kelly, for having me. It's awesome to be here. I'm excited. Thank you.
I have so many things to ask you, but we have to start with, I think, your most latest exciting news in the fact that Celine Dion, who is from my neck of the woods, in my province here in Canada, which is Quebec, she sings your song, Who I Am, in her new documentary called I Am Celine Dion. And I have read amazing stats from you that since this has happened, your streaming numbers have gone up 300%. But I have to start by asking you, how does it feel to have Celine Dion singing one of your songs?
Oh my God. So it's a dream come true. I'm still in shock. Honestly, I'm on cloud nine. And it was especially because it was, such a, even when I found out they were going to use it, I did not know at what capacity. So to know that she uses it and they told me that she listens to it for inspiration. And it was just all I was pinching myself. It was, even this was even before I saw it. So it was just incredible.
Were you a Celine Dion fan before? Was she someone that you would have listened to on your own?
Oh, absolutely. I listened to her growing up, studying her as a vocalist too. Oh my God, she's top tier, so that's somebody I definitely was hugely inspired by. With her, Whitney, just big singers like that. I just gravitated to singers like her. And so she was definitely one of my favorite singers growing up, for sure.
So how did you get the news? When did they reach out to you, her team, and say hey, we want to use this song in her new documentary? How did that whole experience happen and go down?
So my A&R Brian at the label reached out to me and was like, I have good news. Celine's team reached out, and that's when I heard that it really inspires her, they said, and they want to use it in the documentary. So I was screamed, I think I screamed a little bit. No, but it was just really awesome, especially the part that got me, because I know the struggle she's had, and to know that, because her music's done that for me. You know what I'm saying? I remember feeling at my lowest, trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my music, with my life. And her music would just inspire me. That's the way it is. I remember but I'm gonna do this. I'm really gonna live my dream. She was just such an inspiration. So it just felt like a real full circle moment for me, because it's something that her music has done for me, like I said. So to know that was a win for me, even before I knew how they were going to use it in the documentary. That was a win for me, to know that she heard my music and that she is inspired by it. Now, when you saw the documentary and you saw where your song was placed, how did what rush of emotion happen? What was that like to see it? Because it's one thing to be told they're going to use it, but then when you actually see it in play, in its place, in this art form, what was that like for you? So I was still, that's all I had heard about it. So I was I reached back out maybe a few weeks before, just hey, just checking in to see, is it still a go for the documentary? Because I knew when it was coming out, and then they had put they started to promote it, and then I saw the title of it, and I was like, oh my God. So I was but I still didn't know at what capacity it was going to be used or anything. So I reached out to Brian again. I was like, hey, just checking. He's like, yep, from from my understanding, everything's good to go. It'll be out. I was like, okay. So, and I just was assuming it was gonna be played somewhere, in the back, like, which I was super excited, just like I said, just to know she heard it. But and that inspires her. But so when I went, I brought my co-writer with me, Vanessa, because I wrote it with my friends Vanessa Campagna and Josh Brown Louis. And so we wrote the song together, and I reached out to Vanessa. I was like, hey, there's I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. So it was a few days before it was released, and I started getting I was laying in bed, and I just started getting messages. I got my first message from somebody who I'd seen an early release of it, because there were early showings happening, and she was like, Celine fan here. I just want you to know your song was incredible. Hearing her sing your song, I was like, sing my song, what? And then I jumped out the bed, and I was like, oh my God, it's in the movie. And is she singing it? I was like, I still didn't, understand yet. And then I got another message not 5 minutes later from another person, like, everybody was in there Shazam, and who is this person? Like when she was, because just hearing her sing your song, it was one of the most inspiring parts of it. And like, I was like, what? And I literally just started flipping out. I got up out the bed and started pacing. My partner was with me. And as I'm pacing through, he's like, what's going on? What's wrong? I was like, it's in the movie. She's singing it. And so it was just super cool. Dream come true for sure.
That's amazing. And how has your life changed since this has happened? Because like you've already sort of intoned, you got messages already, from Celine fans. So, and we do know the streaming numbers are up, but how has your life changed since this has happened?
So after that, honestly, it's been really overwhelming in a really good way though, because like to see, because a few years ago I went on AGT, sang the song, dedicated it to my twin brother who I lost, and so I did that because I knew it was something my twin brother would want me to do. I was always very nervous about going on like shows like that and performing in front of judges. Like that always kind of scared me a little bit, honestly. And I just didn't think I would really be ready for something like that. But I knew it was something he would want me to do. I felt ready. And so I was able to do an original song that he loved. So I tasted a little bit. I mean, that was a really cool, it opened my music up to a wider audience, and so many people reaching out, getting a hold of the other music was super inspiring. So that's kind of like this, where it started with who I am, where it really started to like catch people's ear, you know what I mean? And so when I found out about this, I mean, I screamed and then I cried. I called Vanessa because she's a huge fan as well. And so, her first song she sang in a competition and a talent show with Celine Dion. Her first concert she went to with Celine Dion. She loves Celine. We both do. And so when I told her, I was so excited to tell her the news. And so, yeah, so that was kind of just like the taste of it. And so, I mean, the AGT thing, and then with the Celine, it just opened it up to an even a wider audience. I mean, people from all over the world were writing me from everywhere, just showing their love, and like, and then to know again that it was an inspiration for her was my biggest, that was like such a seal of approval for me, And so now to see it do what it's doing, and it's really changed my life. I mean, I get to hear so many different stories from people how this song is like affecting their lives and like inspiring them. And it's just really, really cool. And especially to see somebody that you love so much, like that, it's like an idol, help that my music is helping them, because this is not an easy thing to do, music, and so I've had a lot of times where I just wanted not to give up, because I knew that I want to do this for the rest of my life, but I felt very discouraged. But to have this kind of stamp of approval was just everything for me. And it showed me why I got to keep going. You know what I mean? It put a new fire in me. So it's
When
really
you
changed my life.
when you were going to start your career, like in general, did you think, or like was part of your desire to be an entertainer, to be a singer, a vocalist, a singer songwriter, to inspire people, or was it just something that you yourself needed to get out as a creative person?
So I think it was both, actually. Like, well, when I started out, I um well, when I like music, I've been surrounded around it my whole life. My mom sang to us when we were kids, and so I've just always, and I just listened to everything all the time. Music has just been but I was always shy to sing in front of people. So I didn't actually start singing in front of people till I was a teenager, like 13. I did my first solo in church. And I just wanted to, because I knew I wanted to like sing. I mean, I knew I loved to do it. And my mom had heard me through the house, and she kept asking the people at church, like, please let my son sing a song. Like, that's all she was like, like, and so during one of the kid services or whatever, they finally let me sing a song that I wrote back then too, called Angel City. And I was so terrified. My knees were shaking, but I got to see the response from the people was kind of what ignited me to like, it was that was when it kind of first sparked that thing in me, that this is something that I really wanted to do, like, and to inspire people, but then to also um I think I found out later how it helps me, and how it put, putting things on pen has been very therapeutic for me, especially with a lot of the stuff that I've been through. So yeah, it was both, I think, for sure.
I have much more, or many more questions, I should say, about your start of your career. So we're going to get back to that in a sec, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask from your fans and from your new fans that are watching this interview, have you had a chance yet to meet Celine Dion?
No, not yet. I'm hoping to very soon. And again, that would be another dream come true, but I haven't. But she did repost my story and say thank you to me, which was really sweet. And I was flipping out about that. And then the director, the amazing Irene Taylor, who directed it, wrote me a really sweet message. And so that was really awesome to be able to hear from them personally. But I can't wait to meet them in person, and Celine in person for sure.
That is fantastic. And do you hope that there might be an opportunity, because it just seems like, there's little light bulbs that keep going off for you, being on America's Got Talent, having Celine do this for you and for herself, obviously, because she's inspired by your song. Do you like, what plans have you been making to and I don't like using the word capitalize, but you kind of need to, because this is amazing that you've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
this
yeah. I
spotlight
get what
shown
you're
on you
saying.
from Celine. So how are you capitalizing on this extra attention?
It's like I said, it went all around the world. It has opened my music, and so right now it's charting in the UK on iTunes #1, and it's been doing that, like, especially when it first came out, it was charting just everywhere. And even the album, like, I'm seeing such a love for the album as a whole body of work, and which is super inspiring for me too, because I love that, how that's kind of opened doors to my other music as well, And so yeah, it's and now I'm doing a lot of interviews and a lot of radio interviews. I plan on going actually to the UK soon. I want to get there for sure. We plan on getting there soon too. So we've been, definitely, things have just been, like I said, overwhelming, but in a very good way. Like, I loved being overwhelmed by what I love. And so but yeah, so we've been just, I want to tour again. Right now I'm almost done with my second album. So I've released 3 songs already from that. And then the next song is probably going to be the title of the album, it's called Happy Again. And so I'm really excited about that one. But so yeah, we're once I get that done, I want to tour again, because that's where I feel most at home on stage, and I love touring. So
Do you have a favorite city or a favorite country so far when you're out touring?
Oh, that's a hard one because I've loved everywhere that I've been. Like my first tour that I did was a few years ago, open for this awesome group, Delta Ray, who I've become like, it was my first tour that I did doing original music. And I was like, as a solo artist and doing original music, because I've done background and stuff in the past for people, but this was like me in the front doing my music. And it wasn't long after I lost my twin brother. And so I was like, it was like I said, it was therapeutic for me to be out there and to be doing this. And it was like uh, a tribute to him in a way. You know what I mean? To be able to have the strength to do that too. And so like when I just like being on stage, that's where I feel like the most myself and at home and in the studio making the music. But yeah, I've loved what it's done in terms of that. Like, and so we're definitely going off of that momentum that's happening.
Now I know you are Nashville based, but I also understand from when I watched your segment on America's Got Talent that you're from Minneapolis. So I have to ask you,
Yeah.
are you influenced by people like Prince and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and that amazing Minneapolis sound?
Absolutely. Like I remember watching, Purple Rain when I was young, going to First Avenue. I sang at First Avenue on that tour. Well, actually, I did a headline tour after AGT, and that was another. But like doing my first tour opening for somebody was so. I was so nervous, but once I got in it, I was like, oh yes. But then again, those nerves came back because now I'm opening like it's me, like it's like, you know what I mean? And so I did that. But one of the places we got to go to were First Avenue, and I got to perform there. And so that was really cool. And then I went and did a tour at Paisley Park. And because my brother-in-law, he's worked in the industry for years, so he worked with Prince, so I get to hear so many awesome stories. They were friends, and so that's really cool. And then I also have a connection with Prince because we're he has his half siblings are actually my first cousins by blood. So I found that out a little later. I always known growing up we were somehow related, but I did a radio interview with his sister some years back when I was first starting off with music, and I released only like one single during that time. And I interviewed with her, and I told her I was from Minneapolis, and she was like, she said, how are we related? I think she was just asking. I was like, well, my mom's from a big family of one of 13, the Ellis family. She's like, oh my God, what's your name, Cheryl? She's like, she starts naming all my uncles, and she's like, my cousin. And so I was like, oh my God. So yeah, and I'm definitely influenced by his music. So he's our royalty there. So
That is for sure. Now, for the people who don't know your full story, how did you end up going on America's Got Talent? Was it because of your brother passing away and you decided to honor him that way, or was there another reason why you decided to try out?
they reached out to me actually because my song was used on American Idol, and during a segment like of somebody's audition. They didn't sing it, but it was playing after. And so then I guess somehow it trickled through, and somebody from America's Got Talent who said they were a huge fan of the music in general, and they was wondering if I would want to be on the show. And I was like, you know what? And like I said, I had just recently lost my brother, and so I was just grieving, but I did an album. I think I was, yes, I did a tour. I just got done with the tour. So I kind of hit this, I don't know. I kind of hit this place where I was just like, what's the next thing now? You know what I mean? And then so when they reached out to me, I was like, okay, Kane, I know he would want me to do this. So yeah, that's how that happened.
And what was it like? Sorry,
And I was scared. No.
Because I saw the clip obviously when you came out to see the judges, and it was so interesting to see Simon because you know, in the past, we know he has a lot of bark, but he was very sweet with you and very, like immediately interested in your story and your sound. And it's funny because in the past, I've seen him always be wary of people with original songs, but he was very open to yours. So what was it
Yeah.
like getting his seal of approval?
So at first I was really nervous, like I said, but honestly, when I got there, and even before that, like I just felt this readiness. I knew I was gonna be honoring my brother, and so I was like, because when I released Who I Am, I had just released my first EP. So it was an EP entitled Who I Am. So it had 4 songs on there, and Who I Am was the title track. So my brother got to hear that, and I had done like some live videos for it. And so my brother, he just was so like proud of me. And so he was like telling everybody about it. And we sang together growing up. He just never really pursued it. But I could tell it was kind of igniting a passion in him to go, you know, to just kind of play with it a little more, you know, with music. But he definitely was proud of me, and he was like always like telling people like, oh my God. So I knew I was gonna honor him and do the song for him. And then when I got there, and just when I saw the judges, I just wasn't really, you know, there's good nerves, you know, but I just felt ready, you know. And so, and like you said, Simon was the whole time he was just so sweet. He really was like, and what I love that he said is like, are you okay? You know what I mean? He asked me that. And I thought that was really awesome. Like, besides this competition or anything, like, how are you? And so, but all of them were so great. Terry was so cool. Win for the win, he would say, you know, like, they were all really cool. I loved that experience. I really did.
And I'm sure you picked up a lot of fans that didn't even know you existed by being on that show, right? There must have been a rush of, what was that like getting that feedback?
That's kind of where, like I said, where it all kind of started. And that was, for me, that was so awesome, because Who I Am, when I wrote it, it was just about a song about my personal journey and like becoming the artist I am, the person I am. Like, so to see it take on this whole new life and be applied to, I was hearing so many different stories from people, even other twins who had lost their twin and who were grieving, and how that one of the messages, he was like, I've been in a dark place, and seeing you, ooh, yeah, he was like, you know, it lifted me out of that. So I was like, so I'm doing this for him too, you know, for his twin brother, you know. So I remember that specifically, but just so many people. But I loved that it became this whole other thing too, not just a song of empowerment and it was that too, but it was also helping people get through grief, and like, you know what I mean? And like, and so that was really cool to know that, and to see that response from it. And there's so many people like reaching out and showing love, and that was so cool.
How has it been for you to continue on this artistic career without your brother? Like, I know he wasn't singing with you and this is your thing, but like, obviously I can't even imagine, like, I know like my brother and I are best friends, so I can't imagine him
Yeah.
not being in my life, and then add the fact that he was your twin. So is he always with you? Are you always keeping him in mind when you're making career decisions or life decisions?
Absolutely. Because even though it was me out there doing it, he very much was always a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, we grew up singing together, like just playing around, like making up songs, and we went to school because we were always late to school. So we would end up walking, and then we would just make up songs on the way. And then we would sit in my mom's minivan and listen to Motown, like for hours. You know what I mean? And so, like, those things I will always cherish, and like, and then like I said, he was just very, and still is very much a part of everything I'm doing, even with this album. So this next album. So, and I wrote a song on the last one, called End of the River, that was dedicated to him. And so he's very much always a part of everything. I always have him in mind, you know. I honestly, it's funny you say that, because when I saw the audition for America's Got Talent, like, it's hard to watch still, because I just get so emotional, because I see him. When I'm looking at myself, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much I look like because we're fraternal twins. But when I'm looking at myself up there, I'm like, oh my God, like I literally see him. It's really cool to see, you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Joining us on the Kelly Alexander Show is Nashville-based pop and soul recording artist WYN Starks. Don't forget to check out his website, winstarks.com, for all of his information. WYN, let's talk about the new album. So how many tracks are going to be on it? How would you describe the album? Is it like a collection of songs, or is it like thematic?
So, God, there's gonna be 10 songs on the album, now 11, because I have enough. We just, you know, I went in to record the last song, and then my producer, and he's one of my best friends, he's like, you know, remember this one that we were working on? I'm like, oh my goodness, like, so now it's gonna have to be 11. But so I think it's gonna be 11, but uh and it's kind of like this mixture. Like I always describe my sound like I grew up listening to kind of everything. Like I'm an 80s boy, so I grew up listening to 80s pop and rock, but a lot of Motown, a lot of R&B. You know, I just love music, good music. And so I was like, I never wanted to be in a box per se, but I do want people to hear what has influenced me as an artist, and like and I still want to have like a sound, you know. So that's what I was trying to figure out when I first moved to Nashville. That's why it took me a couple years, even after I was signed, because I was still developing my sound and who I was as an artist. So that, I think the first album was me like doing that and like having fun. This one is a little bit more intentional, and so like I got even a nod to the 80s, like my Run, that's what Run is, you know, to that 80s pop, that 80s rock, or, you know, pop and stuff. So like that's what that has, the feel I get from that. And but like it's just, you're still gonna get a lot of the stuff, the Motown influence too, like you'll hear that in there, but like I just say it's like all the things that have influenced me as an artist. I'm just putting it into this body of work, and it's gonna be fun. Like it's a ride, I feel like. But then I'm going deeper too. I have some real deep things I'm talking about on there too. That wasn't easy, but that's how I've learned how to. That's been therapy for me to kind of open up. But who I am was an introduction to that. Me kind of opening myself up a little more to people on a personal level. So that's what I feel like I'm doing some more on this album of that, but still you'll get a lot of fun stuff.
Was it or is it challenging for you to sequence the album? Because I know, like, for example, for people, because I know you said you're a child of the 80s. I think for those of us who, you know, loved 80s albums, 90s albums, even early 2000 albums, you know, you want to listen to the full album because it was a big deal to get either the vinyl or the CD and like look at all the liner notes and all that stuff. So was it challenging?
Oh my God, you're speaking my language, Kelly. Like you're bringing all this back.
So do you put that into your efforts when you're sequencing the album so you're telling a story?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked that, because that is even what I was really intentional with for the first one. I wanted to be is for I wanted it to be an album that, and it's subjective for people. Some people I get that they don't like but I know when I grew up exactly everything you're saying, where you looked at the inside, who wrote, like you're looking at the credits, you're like, and I love being able to find an album that I could listen all the way through to. And that's what I've been wanting. That's what I want to do, especially with this one. I mean, the first one I even was, but I feel like I'm more sure of myself in a sense. And like I've grown even more as an artist too, and as a writer. So I'm like, I'm very intentional about that, making sure that it's something that I'm laughing because you literally brought back nostalgia to me when you were saying that. But yeah, and that's so cool, because that's what I want my music to do too. I want people to be able to listen through to everything, you know. So yeah.
I have to ask you about social media because, you mentioned again throughout our interview how people have reached out. So obviously I'm assuming that's through social media. So first of all, what's your favorite platform and how has social media, elevated your career?
Ooh. It's funny with social media because I have this, I love it. What I love about it. I have this love-hate thing, but what I love about it is this part, like the people's stories, hearing them and hearing how the music is inspiring them. That's what I love about it. I know for a lot of people, because like it's a huge part of what we do as artists now, even today. So but I think the one is my favorite is YouTube, my YouTube audience, but nothing against my other, because I honestly I'm on Instagram the most, I think, and TikTok. I'm getting more I'm getting better at. But but the love has been incredible. But YouTube, I love it because I feel like that is the best representation of who I am as an artist when you go to my page there and you get to see the videos and you get to see these body of work. You get to see the visuals. Like, I think that's why I love YouTube the most. But again, I'm always on Instagram reading messages, reposting, things that inspire me, and people redoing the song. There was a girl recently who sang it in French, which was so beautiful. I had to even put it in my Who I Am bar tab. You know what I'm talking about. But I sound old, don't I? No, no, but but no, but no, but it was so beautiful. So social media has been it's helped my music so much and introduced people. And even now, especially after the Celine Dion documentary, it's been really good to see the song just sung by so many people and like in different interpretations of it. And I've heard an a cappella version of it. Like, I love it. I love it so much. It's really cool.
What have you learned so far in the music industry that you would like to say out loud and say maybe to someone who's watching this who wants to be doing what you're doing?
I would say never give up. I've worked hard for a long time, so to see it paying off like this is just, I mean, I've been crying since it came out, the Celine documentary. I'm like, and it's been so awesome to see your dreams coming true like that. And I've tasted it. I mean, honestly, for me, putting out my first album was doing my first tour, like all of that, these things in my life, I can look and say, and really it started when I moved to Nashville, but it's been just I would say never give up, man. Just, I know that sounds cliche, but when you're really passionate about it, work hard and never give up,
Well, Wyn, we appreciate having you on the show. Do you have a date yet when the album's coming, or we're waiting for your social medias to tell us, or?
Yes, it'll be soon though. It'll be soon. I'm hoping for the fall, but it may be the beginning of the year, but it's coming very soon, and I'm excited to share it with everybody for sure. And I'll have singles before that too, some more singles coming too, so.
Amazing. So that is Wyn Starks. Don't forget to follow him on all of his social media by hitting up his website, wynstarks.com.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's Kelly Alexander, and thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kelly Alexander Show, so you are the first in line for all the cool content coming your way.